Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. Amen. Good morning. I would like to thank God and Bishop Greg for the opportunity to speak today. I love this church and this community, and I am deeply honored. For those who do not know me, my name is Spencer Carey. I am the leader of the young adults group at Trinity Parish in Seattle, and I am the peer minister at the University of Washington campus ministry. So the first thing I learned when researching today's gospel passage is that reading different versions of the Bible side by side is amazing. So in this passage, we heard about the harassed and helpless. In other translations, they are the distressed and dispirited, or weary and worn out. Apparently, Matthew is fond of alliteration. But as I read this, I thought, harassed and helpless? Why, that's me. The transitions and challenges young adults face can be overwhelming. But through all my fear and foreboding, uncertainty and uneasiness, it's okay, because we have the next verse in the gospel. See, Jesus turns to his disciples, and he creates an opportunity. He tells them, "The harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. Therefore ask the Lord of the harvest to send out laborers into his harvest." He describes us as sheep without a shepherd, which is a metaphor for spiritual leadership. There are many sheep without a shepherd in this world. Many of them are young adults like me. And our command, as disciples of Jesus, is to provide spiritual guidance for all who seek it. We have a duty to share God's radical message of love, hope, and justice. And that is one part of the Jesus movement. Now, I don't want to scare you, but this is also known as evangelism. And I heard yesterday that evangelism is not in the Episcopalian vocabulary, but evangelism should not be intimidating. The word is derived from a Greek word that I'm not going to even attempt to say. But literally translated, it means bringing of good news. And that's not exclusive to the gospel. Let's say if you get a puppy and you tell all your friends about how cute and how fluffy he is, you are evangelizing puppies. And given our conversations at coffee hour about your kids, grandkids, and pets, I know you're much better at evangelizing than you think you are. And it's not a large jump to do the same with the harassed and helpless. And you have an advantage being Episcopalian, because no one knows anything about the Episcopal Church. No one outside our community knows for what we stand and in what we believe. And if you don't believe me, then go out and ask them. Start a conversation about it. See what I did there? But this is a real shame that no one is familiar with us, because we have some truly unique selling points. I did my undergraduate degree at the University of Arizona in Tucson. Bear down. I hosted a table once on the center of our campus. I'll never forget this. We had these t-shirts we were giving away to rope people in, and our shirts that said, "Peace be with you," got the attention of two Catholics. So I asked them, would you want a faith where you are not forced to conform to a standard dogma? And that got their attention because they supported marriage equality. Do you want to have the same religion as Batman? Do you like democracy? Do you like wine? Then boy, do I have a church for you. Now, at this point, their Catholic guilt started to set in, and they never came to service, but what are you going to do? Now, I know many of you have ideas that evangelism involves intimidating or judging others, or imposing our ideas of Christianity on others. But that is not who we are, and that is not what evangelism is about. My first impression of evangelism is always these preachers at the university that hold up signs saying, "I'm going to burn the fiery pits of hell." But wait. See, now I know they haven't read Matthew. For when Jesus saw the crowds, he did not demonize those in need. No, he showed compassion. Compassion is what we need in this Jesus movement. As I'm sure you know, Michael Carey was installed as our presiding bishop 2 weeks ago. In his installation sermon, he made a beautiful explanation of evangelism. The Most Reverend Michael Carey describes it as a way of evangelism that is really about sharing good news. A way of evangelism that is deeply grounded in the love of God that we've learned from Jesus. A way of evangelism that is as much about listening and learning from the story of who God is in another person's life as it is about sharing our own story. A way of evangelism that is really about helping others find their way to a relationship with God without our trying to control the outcome. A way of evangelism that's authentic to us. We can do that. We can do that because that is who we are, and that is part of the Jesus movement I know we can live out. Evangelism is just about a conversation. It's talking about and listening to the stories of our faith. And I want to have a conversation with you right now about the young adult community here in our diocese. And you'll forgive me if the first couple minutes of this conversation are a little one-sided. I'll promise I will listen all you want after DD kicks me off the stage. To give you a broad sense of what the young adults are facing, I want to paint a picture for you. Since our last diocesan convention, the Pew Research Center released their United States Religious Landscape Study. And if you read the entire 200-page report, you get a strong sense of where our church stands. So imagine we find 100 people that are raised in the Episcopal Church. These 100 people come from all ages and live all over the United States. Of these 100 people that were raised Episcopalian, only 39 are still here today. The fact is, most of those we raise will eventually leave us. 34 of these people will leave for other denominations of Christianity or other faiths. Now, our freedom of religion is a beautiful thing. Americans will shop for the denominations that best suit their spiritual needs. So, for instance, former President George W. Bush was raised Episcopalian before he joined the Methodist Church in 1977. Depending on your views of history, this explains a lot. These 34 people that find a new home in another faith, I don't worry about, because we have 33 people that leave other faiths to join the Episcopal Church. Many of you are here today, and I salute you. But then there are 27 Episcopalians who will leave all organized religion and become a nun, or simply not affiliated with anything in particular. In the Western United States, 28% of the population are nuns, making them the largest religious group. The Episcopal Church is losing members to the nuns faster than every Christian denomination except for the Congregationalists. Of the tens of thousands that are becoming nuns, most of them are young adults. If you took 3 young adults that were raised in the Episcopal Church, only one will remain religious. And if you think this is crazy, or a little over the top, consider this. At the University of Washington, statistically, there should be about 190 Episcopalians. And in the 1960s, there were 190 Episcopalians. But only 8 today, participate in the UW campus ministry. At Western Washington, statistically, there should be at least 70 Episcopalians, but only 12 attend services. Now, Rebecca Kirkpatrick and Josh Hosler are doing a great job fighting this trend, but at this rate, we will lose over 90% of our young adults. We have a problem, a big problem. There are sheep without a shepherd, and the worst part is that they are our own sheep. Now, I've heard many talk about young adults, or what should be done, but no one ever asks the young adults. So I did it for you. Over the past few months, I interviewed about 40 Episcopal young adults from across the diocese, and I want to talk with you about what I found. Now, as a young adult that stayed in the church, I cannot tell you why young adults are leaving, but I can tell you why we stayed. Now, they are a diverse group. Some are just graduating high school, while others are married and contemplating children. Their answers to many of my questions are equally diverse, but they always answer one question the same way. And it's the most important question. Why did you stay while so many of your peers chose to leave? And the answer is always the same: community. If you don't remember anything else from this sermon, remember that community is almost always the first reason why young adults go to church. Young adults flock to communities where they feel loved. Young adults flock to communities full of people with whom they want to be friends. Young adults flock to communities where they feel safe and will not be demonized. If a young adult looks to the church as their home away from home, I guarantee that they will search you out wherever they end up. And if you want to build a young adult presence, you must foster that community. When any young adult returns or tries out a church for the first time, the critical thing that they look for is that love and support. Coffee hour is critical here. The more welcoming people they talk with, the more likely they are to come back the next Sunday. Young adults are hurting, but the statistics fail to truly capture that pain. This community that I'm talking about it's not some abstract thought. For me, it was something I had growing up. This was the community that celebrated my graduation from high school. The community that walked me through confirmation. The community that supported me when my father died. The community that loved me when I did not love myself. And that type of community is all anyone wants. That love, that acceptance, that support. The church should provide this, but in this day and age, it has become nearly impossible to find. We have all been called to the Jesus movement. If no one has told you yet, it does not matter if you're a bishop, a priest, a deacon, or a layperson. If you are baptized in the one true God, you are his disciple. And today, we heard Jesus command his disciples to go out into the harassed and helpless, the sheep without a shepherd. And we have some sheep to wrangle.